And this is a really different way of being than being like the consciousness that person believes it's conscious. It's really different. But it's so many years now I'm beginning to forget, but it is really different. Like having this deep sense of rest and this energetic expansion, and it changes like your brain, like it makes your brain more empty or something. Everything's passing through quicker. You're not holding on to things. Like your memory is less like running the story of you. There needs to be a story of the character running at points in order to function. There needs to be functioning, but it's yeah, there's something like it kind of gives me the feeling often like I'm a bit stoned. Nice way. But it's like my brain can't really hold on to things properly. And throughout the day, there can be like more closeness to the human and less closeness to the human. I know that sounds weird, but you can become totally unidentified, but in that place you can't function. So to me, I might be wrong about that, but to me, you can't function with absolute disidentification. You become like a baby or like an idiot. Oh, sorry, that's a bit rude to say, like an idiot. I mean, like you become unable to function. Like you need to have some identification with the body in order to function. That consciousness needs to be in some way connected to the particular object it's looking through in order to function. And to me, that feels like it is like it comes closer to the person and then less close. I don't feel like there's seeking here in this body anymore, but I do notice there's old patterns of seeking, so old ways of responding to things. Like, yeah, I'm not sure if I can think of something now, but it's like your body has been so used to doing certain things for so many years that it has a like, you know how wolves run when they have an enclosure, they make a path in which they pace around every day. It's like that's the same for the person. So you've got these patterns and these ways of behavior, and it changes your conditioning, but it's not like it making the human perfect. Like I still have childhood traumas in this body. Like I can still get activated into not speaking up and then speaking up too much or something like that. Like these old ways of being, they become a lot more distant and a lot more impersonal. They still are there, and it's really important. Like in the beginning, I couldn't really perceive that they were still there. I could and couldn't. Like sometimes throughout the day, if like, it's also the same. Like if you're so much into consciousness, you can't really perceive the details of the body, but they are still there, and your body is still functioning through that conditioning of, like it has to perform through conditioning. So that was my dyslexia there, which is most probably also affected by the awakening, because the awakening certainly did something to my memory and to my language as well, like the attachment. And I think that there's also been like experiments on people with the brain, and they believe it's like identification, or not identification, the creation of the self is connected to the memory. And so if you're not so identified with the person, then you're not using that area of the memory so much, which then adds to my dyslexia. Like I honestly think my dyslexia is a superpower. Like somebody recently suggested a technique where I could use to try and get rid of my dyslexia. And I'm not sure I would choose to. Like even though it creates difficulties for me in my functioning everyday life, I also seriously think that it made me very open-minded and susceptible to awakening, because my brain just can't really hold on to words and language and meaning very well. But it also makes me rubbish at certain things as well. So I don't know if I would choose the button to, I mean, it'd be lovely to just be able to spell and read properly, and do grammar and all these things, but I also think in images, like, so even in there, when I was talking about grammar, I was imagining grammar on the paper, on a piece of paper, and somebody's hand and a pencil. And then when I was talking about dyslexia, I was imagining myself and my old dyslexic teacher. It's funny, isn't it, the way we think.